inspiring stories. I'm out of words. It's always good to be among women leaders, women achievers, learn from them. Very inspiring. Today, I'm going to talk about a very interesting subject, from empowerment to influence. And this is a word that we've heard being used repeatedly over the past few decades, empowerment. It appears in conference themes, it appears in corporate newsletters, in policy documents, in International Women's Day events, award ceremonies. It's everywhere. Women are being told we are empowered. And in many ways we are. More women today are educated, employed, they're leading teams, they're leading countries, they're leading companies. So yes, there is empowerment, and it has made a difference. It has opened doors, it has expanded access, it has built confidence. But the question I want to ask today, or discuss rather, is what comes after? What happens after empowerment? Because empowerment by itself is capacity. It gives you a platform, it gives you a voice. And unfortunately, too often we stop at that. We celebrate access, we celebrate representation, we celebrate presence. But presence does not automatically translate into power. You can be empowered, and you can still be operating within systems that were never designed for you. To change that, you need influence. Influence begins when empowered individuals can shape outcomes, when they can shape decisions, then they can shape the structures within which they operate. And this is a whole different conversation and a much harder one. And I want to say here, don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing empowerment. I've benefited from it, I'm sure most of you have. I stand here because many, many women before me fought for access to education. They insisted on access to professions, to public platforms. And that was empowerment in its most meaningful form. Structural, collective, and hard-won. But I've also seen empowered women being present in rooms where they are not the decision makers. I've seen capable women being invited to panels, but not consulted before the strategy was decided. I've seen representation being used as evidence of progress, while policy and structures remain unchanged. And along the way, there was a realization that empowerment may let you enter the room, but influence determines what happens after. And these are not opposites, these are stages. Many of us have reached the first stage. How many of us are thinking about the second and working towards it? And it's a question that I've been personally grappling with for years, because in my career, very early on, I felt empowered. And I did in fact have a platform, I had visibility, I had a voice. But I was also part of conversations where I was expected to just listen. Where when you make a point, the room listens politely, but they move on like nothing happened, nothing was said. And it's usually very subtle. I'm sure you've been in such situations. No one is overtly malicious or dismissive. But those experiences teach you that having a seat is not enough. So I tried to change my approach. I tried to stopped presenting ideas as suggestions. They started building cases with data, with clear articulation, by framing consequences. And many times I felt that I had to be 3 times more prepared than my male colleagues to be heard in that same meeting. It felt very unfair, but I did not know how else to do it. So it can be a tough journey from empowerment to influence. I think we need to work on both the tracks. We need to celebrate progress because there is progress. There is no denying it. We keep looking at the numbers. Every year it gets better. More women in senior managerial roles, more women in boardrooms, even if because of regulatory mandates. At least that's a start. More women getting capital to start their businesses, attracting investment. More women completing higher education. And these are not cosmetic gains. These are structural achievements. But like I said, representation does not automatically translate into power, and recognizing that reality is not being ungrateful. I would say it's being honest. It's being clear-sighted about where we are and what we need to do. And here I want to talk about one of the most insidious barriers to influence. I read about it somewhere. It's called the permission paradox. Women are socialized to wait. We are programmed for it. Wait to be asked. Wait to be noticed. Wait to be perfectly qualified. Wait till you're ready. And this is data I love using and giving examples of. Men, on average, apply for positions where they qualify only 60%, on only 60% of the criteria. Women wait, usually, to qualify 100%. Because we have been conditioned like that. That you have to be flawless before you become visible. And I've seen this in newsrooms, brilliant women sitting with notes in editorial meetings, with arguments refined, waiting to be asked, waiting for the right moment to make their point. And while they wait, someone else speaks who is not ready, who is less prepared, who is less precise. But he spoke first. And this is from personal experience. I remember a young colleague of mine. She would often send me messages after a meeting saying, I thought of this point, but I did not want to interrupt. When this happened the 3rd time, I told her, drop this word from your dictionary, interrupt. Please interrupt. Because when women speak decisively, it's seen as interruption. When men do it, it's leadership. So here is what I want to urge you to do. Stop waiting for your turn. Stop waiting to be ready. Take it with what you've got. And I'm sure you know this already. And yet most women don't do it. They don't do it because they're caught in a double bind. If you're assertive, you're aggressive. If you're collaborative, you're weak. If you negotiate, you're difficult. If you don't negotiate, you lack ambition. So what do? And this is not anecdotal. This is documented across industries. The margin for behavioral error is narrower for women. And the only way to overcome this discrepancy is to show courage. I want to borrow from the title of a book that I haven't read, honestly, but it's quite famous. It says, "The courage to be disliked." Show the courage to be disliked. You cannot optimize your personality to please everyone. And I'm not saying that means abandoning empathy. That means refusing to dilute your authority, because leadership is not a popularity contest. It is a responsibility. We also often talk about the glass ceiling. Women face the glass ceiling, they can't rise beyond a point. I read a very interesting essay that said, it's not just a ceiling, it's a labyrinth. Women face barriers from all directions, and they have to maneuver that. Now researchers and experts have started talking about the broken drum. I'm sure you've also heard of it. The first step into management. Only a fraction of women get promoted to that first managerial role, and that defines your trajectory, that determines your professional path. If you miss that rung, the ladder narrows quickly. Why do women miss it? Not because they're incompetent, but because they're operating in skewed systems. Their professional journey is like a hurdle race. Systemic biases, the motherhood penalty, the caregiving responsibilities, and basically an ecosystem that constantly tests your grit. And we all know about these problems. I don't want to belabor the point and repeat what you already know, but I just want to outline this because we are empowered and yet we are stuck. So how do we change this? We start by redefining the objective. Influence, it's not a buzzword, it's not even charisma, it's not a personality trait. Influence is structural, it is the ability to impact decisions even in rooms where you're not physically present. It's not about titles or the corner office, though I'm sure we wouldn't mind that. And it starts with things like language. Language is very important. Language signals authority. And this is something that I have tried for years and not really succeeded at. Using qualifiers before your contributions. I'm not sure this helps, but let me say this. Sorry, just a quick thought. Men rarely do that, they just say it. Influence requires linguistic precision. And it may seem like a small thing, but it's not, because language shapes perception. The other thing I'm working on is owning your ideas. When someone repeats your idea without attribution, you say something like, I'm glad that resonates, like I said earlier. No hostility, no drama, but you control the narrative. And you have to understand how power works. Because women leaders are often expected to show this moral authority. You have to be collaborative, you have to be empathetic, you have to be inclusive, which is all very important, and you should be. But moral power without strategic power will only take you so far. Who's controlling the budgets? If you want influence, you have to be able to read that map. You have to understand the levers. Only when you master a system can you change it. I also want to bust the myth of pure merit. A lot of my colleagues live with this romantic idea that I'm so good, my work will be recognized someday. I'm sorry, it does not work like that. Too many high-performing women live with this illusion. Good work needs amplifiers. You need advocates in rooms where you don't have access, for someone to stand up and say, she did this, she has potential. And there aren't enough people doing that for women. So you build alliances. You work with people. I tried this halfway through my career because I thought I'm doing such great work, like all of my colleagues I thought too that I was God's gift to this profession. Why isn't anyone seeing it? And I realized because it was not reaching the places it should. And I started actively engaging with individuals who I fundamentally agreed with and who I thought could speak up for me. And along the way I met editors who trusted my editorial judgment. I found colleagues who who are ready to take risks with me, and who amplified critical angles. It's important to have allies, both in the workplace and at home. You can't do it alone. It's okay to ask for help. And while doing this, I learned something that I was ambiguous about earlier, that men are not the enemy. Patriarchy is the enemy. There are men who are allies. There are men who are mentors. There are men who sponsor women when they see potential, when they recognize talent. If you exclude them, you weaken your cause. You have to expand the circle. You have to find mentors, but more importantly, you have to find sponsors. We need men and women in leadership positions who will stake their credibility on you and say, I support this person. Let's try her for this. So we've spoken about systems, power, sponsorship. I think it's a bit much for Sunday afternoon. So let me throw it to you. What will change for you when you leave this room? You may or may not like this speech, but no matter how good a speech is, it means very little unless it translates into behavior. So I'm going to make this practical. On Monday morning, when you open your laptop or your phone or whatever it is that you work on, emails will be waiting, meetings will be scheduled, deadlines will be set, targets will be set. There will be no announcement that says, today is the day when you move from empowerment to influence. That has to be your decision. So I'm going to offer 10 action points. You can pick 3 and work on them over the next 7 days. Number 1, sponsor one woman. Please do it. Put her name forward for a project, recommend her for a client-facing role. Number 2, intervene in one meeting. Observe the pattern, see who speaks first, see who follows, who takes credit, who does not, and intervene, see what happens. Number 3, make one ask that you've long delayed. The promotion, the pay hike, the flexible work hours. Just make the ask. Don't over-explain yourself. Just state what you want. Number 4, challenge one biased assumption. It can be very powerful. Biases shrink when they come under scrutiny. Number 5, if you're leading a team, increase salary transparency. We need to fight for pay parity, and the first step to do that is transparency. If you're in a position to make that happen, please work towards it. Number 6, audit your apologies. Count how many unnecessary apologies you offer and reduce them. Number 7, credit other women in the room. If you like their idea, support it, reinforce it, and if an idea is repeated, attribute it. Number 8, say yes to one stretch opportunity. We talk about stretch goals in management, what is achievable and then what will take a little more. Look at a stretch opportunity, even if you're not ready, even if you think that you may not be able to do it, just give it a shot. Come out of your comfort zone. Number 9, build one strategic relationship. It is very important, not enough women do that. Identify someone whose perspective matters, who can shape outcomes, invest in that relationship, learn from it. And number 10, put yourself forward once. Nominate yourself, don't wait for it. Choose any 3, write them down, set a deadline, and work towards it. Because I repeat, systems do not change with speeches. Systems change through sustained effort. And if Men and women like you in this room don't make the start, who will? You're all empowered to do it. I dare say many of you are also influential to do it. Please do it. That is my message to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Of the Western-led world order, and is India ready to not just participate but to actually shape the future, and what role do the women of India have to play in that?
Let's start with the last question.
No.
We'll start with the women of India. We are 50% of the population. If we are not part of a solution, then it's not a solution. So the women of India have to be part of the policy and the plans that look at the future. Is India poised to take its rightful role in the world? Yes, it is. The opportunity is clear, but so are the challenges. I always say this. India is in a very good place. It has emerged as a bridging power, talking to different sides, working with all players while safeguarding its own strategic interests. India also has a big population, a young population, with the advent of AI that has changed my face in a way that I don't recognize it. So we are entering a phase which is fraught with a lot of uncertainty. And we don't have the luxury of making mistakes. So the short answer is yes, India is well positioned to make the most of this moment, but we will have to play it right every step of the way. Is the Western-led world order collapsing? It is cracking for sure. While the other players in the global south are emerging, I think the West is under the strain of its own expectations and flawed systems. And so this is the time when the middle powers will exert themselves more forcefully. And yet it won't happen overnight, because might is still right in our world. Unfortunately, 2 months in this year, 2 presidents, 2 leaders have been removed unceremoniously. That is the reality of our world.
Thank you. Ma'am, news today competes with reels, real-time updates, and shrinking attention spans. What do you think is the best way to engage younger audiences with serious global issues in this current environment?
Make news reels. No, I do meet a lot of people who say, I watch news on Instagram and I don't know how to respond. My first instinct is to say, well, God help us. But, at the end of the day, the consumer is the king. And so if they are on a particular platform, if it's a TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram, wherever, you have to find them there. And it's very important. We did a story recently on this in the UK. The Education Secretary made a statement saying that young people are not reading. And they're spending a lot of time on social media, and that is a national security threat, because they are getting trapped in algorithms without using their own mental faculties. And so we are raising a generation that is not equipped to identify misinformation and fake news, and that does not have an understanding of history against which to assess today's events. I think that holds true for everyone. If you are raising a generation that does not understand history, that does not understand critical thinking, that cannot focus and is only looking at reels, then you are facing bigger problems than unemployment.
Speaking of misinformation, what is one news that was not true but everybody assumed it was, that really blew your mind in this world of misinformation?
Oh, the Karachi port last year. You see a lot of those things sometimes, and you have to sit and think that, okay, forget the audience. What happened to the journalists? It's a tragedy. And that is not to say there aren't good journalists. There are very many of them. But I think in the quest for speed, we often dilute the accuracy, and that's not great. And with the advent of AI again, it is only going to get more complicated.
Agreed. This next question is one that I'm sure you've been asked a lot recently as you move on from First Post to build your own venture. We are of course curious to know what prompted that decision and what can we look forward to next from you.
What prompted that decision? I've just spoken about influence. I want to use and build something. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start a media company. There are big, good media players in this country. But I think there is room for the kind of journalism that I want to do, and I want to do more of. That is not to say that I couldn't in my past 2 stints. I've worked with fabulous teams and been very lucky and very grateful to have been able to build brands that resonated with a global audience. I think that gave me the confidence that I can do it, and I want to do it, and I seek your support. Thank you very much.
The question we're all thinking is, how do we sign up for this? Congratulations, ma'am. We are very excited. So moving on to something lighter. You make geopolitics sound gripping, but what is your guilty pleasure content when you switch off from global crisis?
What I watch?
Yes.
I watch Boomer dance. I never thought I'd say it on stage. I'm from Rajasthan, and I have 2 left feet, but I have a family full of fabulous dancers, so I think that has stayed in my mind somewhere. So when I have some time, like not every day, but once in a while, when I'm sitting with my kids, I really like that music. It is slow, it is graceful, and I want some of it.
What is one on-air moment that made you want to break out in laughter? You had to only laugh internally and you had to stay perfectly serious.
I have so many of those. So I started with the breakfast show. Not started really. Early in my career, I did the breakfast show for a long time, and I had some really fun co-anchors. And it used to be a 2-hour-long show. So how serious can you be in the morning, right? And I had a co-anchor who was exceptionally funny, and we were tracking a story with reporters of a combing operation in Jharkhand. Some Naxal operation was going on, and he kept saying that this is a thick jungle and so on. And then I suddenly see that my co-anchor is sketching, and he's drawn trees and a huge comb on top of that. And I couldn't keep a straight face, and I had to ask a question, and I think, I took everything I had to make sure that I don't bring it to a giggle. But I've had many such moments, because if you're always serious, as we are expected to be on air, then you can't have a life. You have to laugh at yourselves now.
True. Thank you for sharing that with us. We move on to a bit of a rapid fire. What is your favorite go-to snack?
I'm not a big snack person, but I like having a bunch of grapes around. I keep snacking on them.
Very boring answer. Even though I'm a doctor, I don't Alright, favorite piece of garment?
Sari.
One book you think every woman, if not person, should read?
So one book that everyone should read, I've said in the past, I think the Mahabharata has a very complicated plot. It has answers to a lot of questions. You know, it's the kind of book that, there are books that end when the last page is over, and then there are books that stay with you with a very distinct, for want of a better word, aftertaste. And they offer you answers to questions long after you've turned the last leaf. So I think the Mahabharata is one such book, but depending on what your genre is, I'm very good at recommending books, so shoot.
I think we'll take Mahabharat for now. So if I go into genres, then I think we'll not stop because we have a lot of bookaholics over here. Ma'am, one woman who has deeply influenced you.
So I grew up with two very strong women, my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother lost her husband when she was 18 and she was left with a young son. And she raised him and she gave him an education, and she was such a strong woman. She was respected in the community. She built a life for herself and for her child. And she was a towering figure in my life until she passed. And my mother, who again taught us that education is your ticket to whatever you want to do. And she herself was studying till I was in high school. She was a teacher. She retired recently. But I think these are two women. I know that when you think of heroes in capes and think of people who are very famous. But I think these are stories around us. I'm sure everyone feels that for their parent. That with that silent grit and determination and armed with just their value system, they could truly move mountains. I'm very inspired. I'm very inspired.
And for a lot of us here, you are a deep influence, especially after today. Coming to the last three questions, ma'am, what is one word that would capture the spirit of a woman leader?
I would say empathy. And it's not a weakness for anyone else. I think it's very powerful, especially now I know it's rapid fire, but I have to explain. When you work with the Gen Z that looks at values, that looks at what's in it for them, that it's a generation that you have to convince. They're not like us when we started, when our boss said, you have to do this. You couldn't ask a question, you did it. But today people ask questions. They debate, they discuss. I think when you show empathy, you build a team that truly stands with you beyond the workplace. So I think it's a superpower that women have and should not be shy of using.
One word that every woman should carry with her. One word.
No.
My last question was going to be one word that every woman should drop from her dictionary, and I'm not kidding, it is on my phone, but you already answered that and said interrupt. Is there any other word that you think we should just drop from our dictionary?
Sorry? Sorry? Yeah, maybe.
Sorry. And to wrap it up, one word to describe the women of FLO Chennai.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much, and you have been fabulous.
Reese here, I said generally because she's going to address the whole spectrum. The current one?
Yeah. Let me name. I think you're talking about Iran and what has happened there. Yes. Iran? Yes. So I think I would say that the Iranian regime was deeply flawed. What they did with the women, what they did with the people, how they ran a country for so many decades just to serve a bunch of theocrats was deeply problematic. Having said that, Iran was a legitimate member of the United Nations. It was another country. Today, it's a problematic regime in Iran that most of us agree with, but if you see the pictures from Iran that are coming out today, there are thousands of mourners who are out there. You cannot disrespect an international system, a rules-based system. You have the United Nations for that. In your country, you build a board of peace and then you wage war. So you may have issues with the regime, but who gave you the mandate to decapitate that regime? Today it is Iran, tomorrow it could be any other country. So anyone who's celebrating it, please celebrate cautiously. Because this is not the way the world runs. Then it's tomorrow Russia will say, what is wrong if we don't like the regime of Ukraine? Tomorrow China will say that we want to change what's happening in Taiwan because we don't agree with it. If might makes right, then we will have a world which is very unstable. And as a country that talks about rules and that lectures everyone else on following rules, this is the biggest rule breaker in the world.
It is not happening for the first time. We were quiet about Ukraine. We are quiet about what's happening now. So where are we heading? Why is the big boss always right?
It's easy to stand here and talk about your personal opinion. I think when you lead a country, the country's interests come first, not personal opinion. And I think any leader who leads the country will put those interests first. Is Russia right in invading Ukraine? No. But did cheap Russian oil stabilize our economy in a post-pandemic world? Yes. So what would you do as a leader? You would do what is good for your people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
In 1986, Mukti was started with thought in mind that everyone should have a right to live a normal life. And this is what happened in these last 40 years. Mukti has done nearly 5 lakh people all around the world. And it is nice to see those children today being a doctor, Paralympic champion. And it's really very satisfying because you are not helping one person, you are helping the whole family and whole country. So that is, and we try to say, treat them like a normal. They are not handicapped by any way. But of course, we are mentally handicapped by thinking that they are handicapped. They need a chance, and everyone should give them a chance to get a job, to work with them, to make their life normal. I'm Meena Dada. We run an organization called Mukti at Meenam Bagam, which does artificial limb.
My name is Dr. Vasudha Prakash, and it's been a wonderful evening today, so inspiring. And we get awards and awards, but when an award ceremony is so respectful and organized so beautifully, you feel very worthy receiving that award. So today, I saw how you should organize an event, and with clockwork precision, and it was enjoyable, it was heartwarming, and everything that a ceremony should be. And also the way they've chosen the awardees, that has also been very inspiring, because these are people who can bring about a lot of human changes in this fast moving world. So I feel honored and I feel blessed. Thank you, FICCI. I've always admired FICCI for the community of women, of empowered influencers that this community has built. So it's been a great evening, and it's been great being a part of FICCI. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Satya Jagannathan. I was a pediatrician. I worked as a professor of pediatrics at Chennai Medical College. I'd been working for more than 27 years in the field of neonatology. And I'm happy that FICCI had awarded me, and they have encouraged all the work that has been done in low resource settings like a government medical college. And we as a team, we worked hard, and from the scratch we built up the neonatal unit. Initially we made our own infant warmers, phototherapy units, and then gradually the unit was developed with the help of nurses and doctors, and we make many innovative care in newborn care. And we have also made 1,000 days of life park in the Chennai Medical College, where the children, any mother who becomes pregnant, she will walk through the park and she will know what she should do to the child on a particular life of that child. And currently I work as a principal in Gandhigram Health and Family Welfare Training Center, where I take care of a big training unit catering to 6 health unit districts, and we take care of the vulnerable newborn, especially preterm and low birth weight babies. And currently, we promote kangaroo mother care, where the baby will be placed on the mother's chest and it will be cared for till the child grows up to 2.5 kg. I thank FICCI organization for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
I'm Chitra Shah, founder director of Satya Special School, Pondicherry. I think receiving this award among all these awardees has been extremely inspiring, encouraging, and also it's like bringing the visibility that our work, which is happening in one corner of India, in Pondicherry, for an invisible population. I think this award will give us the visibility that it needs, and I'm very, very impressed by right from, I think, the selection process, the way it was done, very professionally, how they approached us. Today, the way this event was organized flawlessly, and taking home from the chief guest what she said about women, how we need to kind of break the glass ceiling, come out and be an influencer. I think thank you, FICCI, for giving us this award and making our voices heard. I'm really, really grateful and completely inspired by today's event. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Guneet Singla, and I feel absolutely overwhelmed and overjoyed to receive the Entrepreneur of the Year award. It's very special because it's not just an award, it's a responsibility. For the last 29 years, I've been running my business along with my husband and my team. But today, I'm going back not only empowered, but also more influenced to make a difference in many lives, many more lives of women, of men, and more importantly, creating solutions which the world needs in the food of F&B and hospitality. Partying is my business, and partying is not simple. It's a lot of planning, lot of perfection, and lot of putting your heart and soul into bringing out what we put on the table. Thank you for the acknowledgement and appreciation. I go back more empowered, more dedicated in making lives of all around me and collaborating with fellow awardees and seeing how the lives that they are touching can be put to use and can create employment in our F&B industry. Thank you.
It's truly inspiring to be here in this fabulous award-winning function for two reasons. One is the stalwart, the trendsetter, Palki Sharma is there as the chief guest, and we could get the award from her. And the second one is the inspiring entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs of FICCI FLO, and the excellent arrangements done by the entire team. It was beautifully done, and it is also giving us a responsibility and the learning taking forward, especially from Palki Sharma with 10 to-do lists and all the entrepreneurs we could come across and meet today. Thanks a lot, FICCI FLO, for this wonderful and fabulous opportunity. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, FICCI FLO Chennai, for making this evening so special. I'm so glad that we have a platform where we are getting recognized for the efforts that we are being putting up, throughout the entire entrepreneurial journey. And I just want to say that I feel so overwhelmed, and the entire evening feels really, really surreal. So thank you so much for that. I just want people to understand what space, what magic that their spaces around them can bring to them. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm Niyati Mehta, chairperson of FICCI FLO Chennai, and I'm the 32nd chairperson. And this awards, Women Achievers Awards, is something that we have been doing for the last few years, and I'm so proud to be part of this. We had about 98 applications. These applications are very organic, and we filtered it down, and finally our jurors, Rajiv Mechari, Deepa Satyaram, and Mrs. Usha Krishna, brought down to 5 winners. And since we had impeccable, a fabulous set of people, we had 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, Dr. Satya Jagannathan and Ms. Meena Dada. So it's been a thrill and a delight and to be having this. And we thought of Palki Sharma because she is one lady who has got the voice of the nation today. And we are so happy to have her here with us, and it was a fabulous event. Thank you.